So we got an interesting Pokemon theory for you today. A while back, I did a news story discussing how Ash had defied, once again, super strength by lifting up a 2,204 pound Pokemon. But to further that, there was a scene where Pikachu had done the same thing. Now, you can say what you want about Ash. He's got super strength. People in the Pokemon world have super strength. That's not a problem. But that's not necessarily true either. But Pikachu is where the theory kind of falls apart. So what you're telling me is a very small electric mouse in a world with literal fighting type Pokemon that pride themselves on being able to lift heavy things can lift up 2,204 pounds. Not exactly likely. So today we're going to be discussing this theory and proving how this is possible, or potentially also debunking it. So stay tuned for that. But first, I would like to encourage you to check out my Patreon, where that continues funding these videos. These videos alone are fueled purely by Patreon, and my patrons there get to see these videos a day early, as well as there's other tiered rewards where I investigate their theories, and I also send out plushies for the higher tier donators. You don't ever have to feel like you have to donate, but if you do, just know that it does go into funding this show. So with that said, if you're interested in that, you can check the link in the description below. Otherwise, sign in and get ready to like and share this, or thumbs this down and share your constructive criticism on why I might be wrong. Now, we're going to jump in to why a Pokemon that weighs 2,200 plus pounds can be lifted up by a small boy and an electric mouse. To begin, I want to establish what this Pokemon is. Cosmoem sounds kind of more the way it should be sounded, in my opinion, pronounced, because it's like a mausoleum where this Pokemon remains motionless and dead in its cocoon. So it's kind of similar to that. Cos being cosmos, mausoleum being a place where you rest the dead, and that would be implied with this name. I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong in the past, and I have no problem with that because I can't pronounce names, because English is not my native #1 language. I'm pretty good at it, but I'm not 100%. So with that said, the theory goes that Ash can lift this Pokemon up basically like this. No problem, ladies and gentlemen. 2,000 pounds in my hands, not even that heavy. But there's been times in the past where Ash has had troubles lifting up things. There's also been times in the past where I've seen Ash throwing a log. So, anime logic. It's very hard to prove an anime theory based on anime logic because there are things that are so wrong within the anime. There are moves that exist in the anime that don't exist, period. Like Pikachu's Rocket Punch. Where's this move at? Hitmonchan can't even learn Rocket Punch. You know what I mean? So, Rocket Punch is not Comet Punch, by the way. It's a completely different move. Ironically enough, Pikachu used it on Hitmonchan, and then Hitmonchan beat the crap out of Pikachu. So not exactly the best move, still nonetheless, anime logic, ladies and gentlemen. So the point is that this very well could have been a mistake by the animators, which it more than likely is. This is a cute and small Pokemon, so obviously they want to sell the point that Ash is the hero of the story. He's being very genuine and nice with this Pokemon, and thus he doesn't want to cause it any harm. He's protecting it, kind of like Metapod, in the first season of Pokemon. So this is the Cocoon of the Stars Pokemon, kind of. That's what it's been dubbed. It is genderless and its type is psychic. But a lot of people had interjected and said, hey, I can explain this. It's real simple. It levitates. Pokemon levitate. Okay, I'm cool with that. Thumbs up, I'm with you there. Except there's one problem. Its ability is sturdy, not levitate. Cue the wah 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 sad trombone music there. Because seriously, it doesn't work. Its ability is not levitate. Maybe it can levitate. Again, there are plenty of Pokemon out there that levitate and don't have that ability or didn't have that ability for a time. Like Magnemite, it didn't have levitate, but it clearly floats everywhere it goes. Why didn't they give it that ability? Probably because it would have been a little bit more difficult to counter. I don't think so. Fire type, steel type, it could counter it. Fighting types also. So I don't know why it needed the 4 times weakness to ground, but there's that. So that's a good example of a Pokemon that floats that didn't have the ability levitate. So we have a counter argument for that, right? So it's not just straight up, hey, it can levitate. You have to take into context that there is a potential and possibility that that might not be the answer. So a lot of people had stated to me, again, this is their arguments, that this Pokemon may just be using a psychic variation to levitate. You know, maybe it has the ability, like a move that will make it levitate. So let's take a look at its movesets. Cosmic Power, Teleport, and Cosmic Power again. Whew. Man, this Pokemon's as good as Metapod. At least Metapod can learn Tackle. Legendary Pokemon? I don't think so! I'm ridiculous here with these roasts. This is dumb. Anyways, this Pokemon is basically the run-up to the evolutions of the legendary Pokemon from Sun and Moon, which would be Solego and Lunala. Again, I'm very bad at pronouncing names. Come on, cut me a break here, ladies and gentlemen. The point is, this Pokemon can't really do much. He just can't. I don't know why. He just can't. That's the way they made him. So he can't learn Levitate through a moveset. He can't levitate because of an ability. But because he's a Psychic type, he can levitate. Let me list some clear examples of how this is possible. Alakazam, Psychic type, can levitate. Doesn't learn Levitate, can't use any moves to really levitate himself. Mewtwo, Psychic type, levitates all over the place. In fact, can fly around. Should he be able to learn Fly? Maybe. Does anyone really teach him Fly? No, not really. But he can fly. So, yeah, you could make the argument that he can do that because Mew can learn every move, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure it's just because the whole Psychic types have power over the mind, so they can, you know, float around and do this and that. I'm not really sure where that idea came from, but it seems to conform to that notion and work pretty well. So, Cosmoem is a Psychic type, so there you go. Now he can float and levitate. So that makes sense. So when Ash is holding him, he instead is just levitating, and Ash is able to hold him, I guess. Same with Pikachu. It doesn't necessarily make a great amount of sense because at the end of the day, if you're thinking about it, why would then he be resting in Ash's hands? If the Pokemon itself has to levitate itself everywhere, what is the point in being held? This Pokemon wouldn't be able to rest on tables because of how heavy it is. I mean, think about it. If you put this Pokemon on a wooden table, it would just shatter through the wooden table. It likely would shatter through the wooden floor as well. 2,000 pounds, man. That is a lot of weight to be putting on, you know, things like that. And in any instance, if it lost its concentration and stopped focusing on levitating and just let itself go for a moment, Ash's hands would be completely obliterated into the ground with it because it's 2,000 pounds, man. This is about as heavy as a car, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, some cars are lighter or heavier, but generally speaking, a 2-ton vehicle, that's pretty heavy. I mean, the Pokedex doesn't even help out that much here either. It doesn't explain that it floats or anything. It's inferred that it comes from the stars, so it's floating around in the sky, in the night sky, in space. And hey, you know, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to call it, you know, thumbs up to you. That's probably more accurate than anything else. The odds are, yes, he's a Psychic type and he floats around, and that's why he can be picked up by Ash Katchum and Pikachu and whoever else is going to pick him up. Again, the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime has not finished. It's still running, ladies and gentlemen. So the whole theory boils down to the simple fact that this Pokemon can float, and somehow, due to this, Ash isn't actually super strong, and neither is Pikachu. So that's the entirety of the theory. It's just floating in Ash's hands. Maybe. I don't believe it. I really think that the writers just screwed up. I don't think you can really explain this by saying, oh, he's just floating in Ash's hands, because once again, at what point in time would he be able to rest? Do you set him on the ground outside because you don't want your house destroyed by the sheer weight and force of the Pokemon? That sucks, doesn't it? This is an extremely rare legendary Pokemon, but because of how heavy it is, I can't keep him in the house. He'll destroy my floor. He'll destroy my table. If I put him on a countertop, it'll be, ridiculous. So, quite silly to think about. At the end of the day, applying real-world logic to a Pokemon game. But again, they could have easily just made it 20 pounds instead of 2,000 or 200, as I aforementioned, which was wrong. But the point being that the writers write, and they really should have cheat sheets and references and things like that. A lot of people take the anime series a little bit too serious. I don't really take it that serious. I think anime logic makes it very ridiculous and hard to prove. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the theory for today. I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave me a thumbs down and a constructive comment. And make sure to share this where you can. Forums, on various Discord servers, Skypes, talking with friends. If people are curious about Ash being super strong or people being able to lift up this Pokemon, let them know. Hey, Protomario answered this theory, and maybe you have a counterpoint to it. Maybe you have something to weigh in, and I would love to hear it in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. I've been yours, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good gaming, God bless, and once again, I really appreciate you viewing this video.